This is the Edimax 3116W indoor security camera. Uh, I want to show what's in the box here. Besides the camera, you of course got the wall power supply, the instruction manual, a CD containing the surveillance software, and a better instruction manual than what they provide, uh, an Ethernet cable, and the mounting hardware. Uh, you know, these are Edimax for these cameras are considered budget level cameras. Again, they're for indoor use. You can't put them outside, and really just because they're budget level doesn't really make them bad cameras per se. Uh, the initial setup is okay for these. I don't consider myself an expert at any means by any means with setting up cameras. I've done some outdoor ones myself and found them to be kind of a pain. So I'm not, real slick at installing these and getting these running with all the different things. But the initial setup was fairly easy. I mean, I found the easiest way for me was to use the Edimax Finder program. I tried the WPS, and yes, they did connect, but you still really needed to kind of go through all the steps to kind of set things up anyway. So the Edimax Finder was the quick and easiest way to do that. One thing I always suggest with this type of stuff is make sure before you start messing with any of the settings, go onto the website for the company, get the latest firmware, download that, install that on the camera, which works similarly as far as installing software to like updating a router. You just go into the IP address of the camera and go to the page that allows you to update the firmware and do that. I did that before messing with any of the settings. I just think that's the better way to handle it, to eliminate the bugs in the initial release firmware. I made all the changes after that with my, IP address webpage of each camera setup page. You have to install an ActiveX to be able to do that and view the web page, but that's not a big thing. For me, I have suggestions, and you can take these with a grain of salt, on things that you should initially work to set up. First thing is change your default password for security purposes. You don't want to have the default password. Somebody can access these via IP and access your cameras via that default password. So change that. Change your date and time so that it matches. Mine was set by default to London time, so you should change that to match whatever time zone you're in. Enable your motion detection if this is the purpose of what you're trying to use it for. It's off by default for these cameras, which I don't understand why that is, but it is. Set up your event alerts if you want those to be alerted by email. So, these are some of the important features that you should probably deal with first. These aren't as feature-rich as the professional level cameras, as you call them, but they have a decent amount of setup options for this type, for a budget camera. My first thing was I tried, with the Edimax Android app on a tablet, and it was fairly easy to set up. You just install the app on the tablet, find the cameras, click and add them, and that's it. I'm still new to the app, so I'm still playing around with it, but I didn't find a way to set up like a multiple screen for multiple cameras. It seems like you can only view one at a time. You have to swipe between the two. I don't know if that's just me not finding the setting or whether that's just not in the app. But if it's not in the app, it would be nice if they add that to the app to be able to view 2 or 4 screen cameras. The clarity of the picture is actually pretty decent through the app and through my tablet. So the one thing that lets me down with these cameras, and maybe I expected too much for a budget level camera, is since I already have a security camera set up here with a server, I wanted to add these into the recording software I'm using for my Hikvision cameras. And unfortunately, these cameras are not ONVIF compliant and won't play with anything other than its own software, which is disappointing. maybe not surprising because it's a budget level camera, but I really wish they would, you know, have included that feature into these cameras. And so I didn't want to risk conflicting with that software. I decided to try this on a separate computer and install that software from a CD onto a different computer. Software is fairly basic. It's not as user-friendly as I'd like it to be. Like, for example, if you make the mistake of clicking on email notification before you set up the email notification stuff, it keeps alerting you every few seconds that it's not going anywhere, which really isn't necessary, and maybe that feature should be all on the same page so you get it set up. I don't know, but that was kind of annoying to me. The other thing is, even if you only have one or two cameras set up in the software, it creates 16 directories for 16 cameras. That's because it's 16 cameras capable, but if you only have one or two, I don't understand why that's necessary to do that. And for some reason, at least in my situation, the surveillance software screen had a screen flicker on the cameras, even though the images on the Android app or the live view, web page view were fine. So I don't know if that's a bug in this software or what exactly. I'm assuming it is, but that was a little annoying as well. Other than that, though, the video and the images are decent for a budget camera in both day and night condition. Again, this is a budget level camera, so I don't have high expectations, but it's passable for this level of camera. I mean, I wouldn't consider these my primary level of security by any means, but considering I have other higher level cameras, but these are going to cover my garage area, interior, and my kitchen area, and do fine for that purpose. Considering I already have outside security cameras. You know, it's kind of limited really with motion detection to 640 by 480. You can't really do 720, and it definitely doesn't do anything higher than 720 as far as the screen resolution, so keep that in mind. Mounting, you know, I'll get into that in my written review since I don't have it mounted yet. But in testing, I noticed that the camera does get a little warm on the back. So when you're mounting this, keep that in mind and make sure you don't have it near anything that could be affected by that heat. Not that it would get hot enough to do anything, but I'd rather be safer than sorry. I'm going to attach some video footage to the end of this review prior to mounting this camera. And again, I'll get into the mounting issues in the written part, but overall, I think this is a decent budget level camera. It's not gonna, you know, win any awards. It has a few shortcomings. For me, the ONDIF is a big one, and some bugs in the surveillance software. But it's a decently priced, economically priced internal camera, and I give it 4 stars.